in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 7 through 12. We have been working through a lesson in our Bible study talking about the practicalness in serving God, practical living for Christ.
Amen.
How do we live for Him in this world? This is our lesson. I am in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 7 through 12. You can stand if you like. Are you there?
Amen.
It says, "But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our body. For we which live are always delivered unto death for Jesus' sake, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. So then death worketh in us, but life in you." God is my source.
Amen.
God is my source.
Amen.
All right.
God is my source.
Yes.
The person who chooses Christ and chooses to live for Him, you ultimately choose the best life you could ever have.
Amen.
I want to start this message by just saying that when you choose to live for the Lord, it's the best choice you could have ever made.
Amen. Amen.
Can I say it again? When you choose to live for the Lord, it's the best decision you have ever made.
Amen.
When
Amen.
you choose Him, you choose Him to be in your life.
Yeah.
You can make a better choice
Yes, sir.
than to choose. There is no better choice
So now.
than to choose somebody who has your best interest in mind.
Oh yes.
He's always thinking about you.
Oh yes.
He's always got your best interest in mind. When you choose Him, you couldn't have chosen a better one.
Oh yes.
You couldn't have chosen a better person to give the controls of your life to, who will always lead you and guide you in the right way. You couldn't have made a better choice.
Amen.
When you choose to live for Christ, and when you choose Him, I want you to understand this: regardless of what the world may make you want to believe, you're not missing out on a thing.
Amen.
You're not missing out on anything. Well, when you go to church and you like you can't do. No, when you choose the Lord, you ain't missing out on nothing. Choose Him, you got the best you could ever choose. You got the best you could ever have. When you choose Christ, you got the best there is to offer. I can't give you nothing better. You choose Him, you got the best there is. But there are some dynamics that happens when you choose this life of Christ. Paul says we are troubled on every side.
Oh yes.
I want you to understand, when you come to Christ, you got the best life, but you got trouble. He says,
Oh yes.
Come on, preacher.
on every side.
Yes, sir.
Trouble on the north side.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Trouble on the south side.
Yeah.
Trouble on the east side and on the west side. Trouble on the back side and the front side. Trouble on the upside and the down side. There's sometimes some trouble beside me. Sometimes I got trouble side by side. Sometimes I got trouble inside and I got trouble out. I'm trouble on every side. Paul said, you choose Christ, you better understand the dynamic. You got trouble on every side. But when you choose Christ, remember, you're not in distress. You're not suffocated to where life is not worth living. Even though you got trouble, remember you got Christ in your life. Sometimes this trouble is so great, it's so much It's so heavy until we feel, he says, and calls the word perplexed.
Oh, yes.
We are puzzled sometimes. It's not really confused, but I'm puzzled because I'm wondering, Lord, out of all this trouble that's on every side, what in the world are you trying to do? I'm perplexed. I'm thinking, Lord, now I trust you and I know you're going to handle me correctly, but I got trouble on every side. And I'm just wondering, Lord, what in the world are you trying to do? I mean, I wake up today and look like trouble today, and then at noon is some trouble, and this evening I get another call and some trouble there, and then the next day some more trouble. It's just trouble everywhere. And it makes me perplexed sometimes because I'm saying, God, what are you trying to do? I chose you and I know you know how to handle me. I'm just wondering, what are you trying to do? He says, I'm perplexed, I'm puzzled. But when you choose Christ, you got to understand that you are not in great despair, because there is always a way to make a comeback. Some days in our lives are filled with crying. Some days and some things will happen to where tears will flow and it seems like they won't ever stop. Sometimes things will happen, or you'll lose a loved one, or some trouble, or some news will come your way, and it seems like it just causes you to cry, just causes your heart to be heavy. Sometimes our hearts are shattered over various things that happen in our lives, and seem like our hearts are shattered so much until we can't seem to put the pieces back together again. Sometimes it seems like I'm just all over the place. I'm just frantic and just frenetic and just freezed all up. I mean, I get one call and it's bad news, and then I hang up, and then the next hour I get another call and it's some more bad news, and then I look on the TV and just bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. I mean, just everywhere. This one in the hospital, and this one sick, and this one going through, and this one hurt. And sometimes that stuff can play with your mind and mess you up and have you perplexed sometimes. But the writer says, even though you get perplexed, don't be in despair. You're not hopeless because you got Jesus in your life. It looks real bad, but you got Jesus. And if you got it, you got something if you got Jesus. I may have a lot of problems, but I got Jesus. I may be crying, but I got Jesus. And as long as I got King Jesus, I'm perplexed. Sometimes I don't know what you try. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a dream. And when in the world am I ever going to wake up? Sometimes, I don't want to talk to you about that song. It seems like I'm just going around and, you know what I'm talking about. It seems like I'm just going around in circles. I'm trying to figure out what is what, trying to make ends meet, and like they won't ever come together. Like I'm just balancing on a tightrope. I'm trying to figure my way out through all this. But if I got Jesus, I'll be all right. Just let me hold on to Jesus. I don't want to let him go. Let me hold on to him. Sometimes it seems like the walls are closing in. Seems like I can't catch a break.
That's right.
Seems like, and I know sometimes you feel like me sometimes. If one more thing happened, I just don't know. One more person called me with some bad, like, Lord, I'm gonna lose it. But when you give your life to Jesus, when you give your life to Christ, you know how to always work it out for us. He always brings us out. Then Paul talks about this persecution. We are persecuted. We are misused. And persecution is felt sometimes when you're trying to help others and they don't want your help. And then persecution can be felt when sometimes folk will accept your help and then they turn on you. I mean, those are two different instances. I'm trying to help you and you don't want my help. I'm trying to keep you out of trouble, but the more I try to help you, the more you turn my hand away. I mean, that can really mess with your mind sometimes. But then sometimes I'm trying to help folk and they just take my help, 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 and then they get funny acting with it. That'll play with your mind too. Talk to me somebody. You're persecuted, you're misused and mistreated sometimes. Paul says, I am persecuted, but I'm gonna be all right. This is what Jesus has to deal with in Luke chapter 4. In Luke chapter 4, Jesus has stood in the synagogue and he has preached to the people. He has talked to them about he has brought liberty to them. I'm bringing freedom to you. The Bible says in Luke chapter 4 that while he talked, they gazed at him like, oh my God, what manner of man is this
Oh,
that
yes.
speak to us like this? And they were mesmerized by Jesus as he took the scrolls and read from Isaiah that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
Oh, yes.
He has brought me to here to bring freedom to the captive, to set you free. I mean, they are mesmerized by Jesus. And then when he finishes reading, he sits down and he begins to talk to them, because some of them are saying, ain't that the carpenter's boy? Ain't that Joseph someone in here trying to preach? What are you talking about? And Jesus has to tell them, see, I come here as the Messiah. I come to bring you deliverance, and you're not even going to receive me because you think I'm just the carpenter's son. But I'm the Savior of the world. I come to bring you salvation. I come to bring you joy. I come to bring you help, and you won't receive me because you think I'm just Joseph's boy. He says this is the same thing that happened to Elijah and Elisha. They were in a place in their native land, and leprosy was everywhere. Sick folk were everywhere, and they could not even heal their people in their own country because people said, oh, that's just them boys from down the street around the corner there. And Jesus tells them, I brought you salvation, and you don't even want it. You don't even want to receive it. And what the people do, they get upset because now he's talking about, what you mean we don't want to accept no help? The Bible says in Luke chapter 4 that they ganged up on Jesus. I wish I could talk about that. They persecuted him. They ganged up talking, you can't talk to us like you're talking to us, Jesus carpenter boy. The Bible said he had to slip away and ease on the outside of the city so he could escape with his life. I'm talking about when you're being persecuted, as long as you got Jesus with you, things will work out. Sometimes folk will walk out on you. Sometimes folk will disassociate themselves with you. Sometimes people will just try to do your mean, malicious, evil thing. But you gotta know you gotta have Jesus with you. The sadness and the pain that comes to me, the mistreatment. Sometimes Paul talks about the fact that it could knock you down. We are cast down, but we are never out of the fight. There are some things that we be honest, you be truthful. You tell me now, when you got some folk that been walking with you for a long time and then they change and turn on you. But I'm all right anyway. No, you're going to go home and you're going to shed some tears. And you thought you had a friend, and then that friend turned out to be somebody else. Oh, you can act like it ain't a thing to you, but it's something to you. Yeah, if you love them, if you done spent time with them, you done gave them some of your Kool-Aid and done ate out their bag of chips, and y'all done cut the hamburger in half. You done spent time, and now when you come and say, hey, they talk about, don't speak to me. No, that's going to do something to you. You cast down. That'll knock you down. That'll hurt your feelings. Paul said, even though you're cast down, you're not out to fight. You might have to go home and cry a little bit. Then you might have to put your mascara back on and come out and smile like it's all good. It'll knock you down. Amen. But you're not out to fight. What he says is there is a constant reminder of what Christ went through so that we could have this life. He says, always bear in mind what the crucifixion was like and what it meant. Keep in mind that Jesus had to go through some horrific things.
Oh, yes.
Keep in mind that his pain and his troubles led him to the cross. Yes. So every pain, every trouble, every issue you have is leading you to your cross. Amen. I mean, you do want him in your life, right? I mean, we do want Jesus. And what happens is I want his blessings. I want his liberation. I want all the joy he brings. I want every good thing that Jesus brings. But you do know he went to the cross, right? And so when you get Jesus in your life, you're going to have to bear your cross. Some will come in here and tell us today, if you ain't want to bear no cross, you can't have no crown. You can't have no crown. You got to know how to bear your cross. He says, I want my life to show up in your life. Just so we know that even though trouble is on every side, it won't always last. All right. Even though we're in trouble, it won't always last. Even though we have some various things that we're trying to get through. And when he talks about being perplexed or confused or befuddled or puzzled, even though we don't see God's plan, he's saying, trust my hand. That's what he's saying. If you don't see my plan, I want you to trust my hand because I'm the Lord, and yes, I understand. Here is what one of the sisters would say. She would say, you've been lied on and cheated, talked about and mistreated. You've been abused and scorned just as sure as you have been born. You'll be up and you'll be down. Sometimes you'll feel level to the ground, but then she holler, but as long as I got King Jesus. dynamics. I want Jesus to live in me. I want him to show up in me and my attitude and my actions. But I have to understand that Jesus, even though he wants to show up in our life, he went through some bad things in order to get to the good.
Oh, yeah.
You got to know that he went through the bad first in order to get to the good. And to get to the good, he had to have a source of strength, a source of power that you can't just get anywhere. You have to accept Jesus and the life he brings. And this is what Paul says when he points in verse 7. He says, now this treasure we have, it comes from God and not from us. He speaks now about the trouble that we're going through, and he wants us to understand that when you receive Christ, don't just think it's going to be a bed of roses. When you choose Christ, don't just think it's going to be easy and hunky-dory and just fairy all the time. When you receive Jesus, there's going to be some trouble to come in your life. There's going to be some rain to fall. There's going to be some issues you got to deal with. There's going to be some storms that are raging. There's going to be some burdens that you got to carry. There's going to be some loads that get heavy sometimes. He's saying, but as long as you got me, when you carry your burdens, everything will be all right. You got to accept Jesus, because now when you accept him, he says, I have put this treasure in your earthly vessel. I have put this treasure that comes from heaven, I have put it in an earthly vessel, a vessel that is feeble and frail, a vessel that gets tired sometimes, a vessel that gets worn, a vessel that gets misused sometimes, a vessel that gets hurt and gets his heart broken sometimes, a vessel that sometimes don't want to go anymore, a vessel that sometimes don't want to testify, a vessel sometimes don't want to sing in the choir. It's an earthly vessel. It's a vessel that gets worn sometimes. I mean, a vessel, you know, when it started out it was all black and now it's kind of salty and pepperish. You know, I mean, a vessel that wears out sometimes. I mean, you know, you used to bump it and you could bump right back, but now you're bumping and you're down 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, talk to me somebody. You know, the vessel, it just wears out sometimes. I mean, you used to have some pep in your step and some stride in your glide, but now them steps done got real short and you tell them, oh, I ain't coming over there, you come over here. The vessel wear out sometimes. I mean, it used to stand up strong. I mean, it used to be square up. I mean, it's when you call it, it comes. But now every now and then you call it, hello. It ain't stand up. Somebody, help me somebody. I mean, the vessel just wear out sometimes. Trying to talk to you. The vessel just wear out. But he said, I put a treasure in that vessel. It's feeble, but I put something in you. Something that's so powerful that even though you might want to throw in the towel, he says, I'll throw the towel back and take it, wipe the tears away. You ain't got no time to throw in the towel because you got a treasure in you. You got something that comes from an almighty God. You got a power source that you cannot go to the last end of your battery life. You got a power source that no matter how low you get, when you plug into Jesus, he know how to pump you back up. I mean, I'm down to 7%, 4%, then the battery start blinking. I mean, they're blinking in me, and I'm looking, Lord, and they say my phone gonna go dead after a while. You better plug that phone up. Oh, Lord. When you plug it up and you see that green light, come on. I wish I could talk to somebody about the green light. I mean, when you plug it up, that light starts pumping, and then you get some battery juice in you. I mean, this is how you pump up. You gotta have a battery source. I accepted Jesus. I gave him my life. Now he understands every trial and trouble I go through. And I understand that even though the trial and trouble I'm in, it's all about me carrying my cross. I mean, I have to count up the cost, and I knew it wouldn't be easy. He didn't say it would be easy, but he did say you would reap the rewards if you hold on. You would reap the benefits if you stick with it. Ain't nobody getting nothing for going halfway and then quitting. You got to go all the way. So my tribulation, my trial, they come to me, but I know if Jesus had to go through the crucifixion, then I've just got to carry my cross. So I can go through all of these things because I know about the excellency of the power and what Paul says in verse 7, that comes from God and not from us. I want you to understand this is why I put my treasure in an earthly vessel. And your earthly vessel is going to wear out and wear down over time. But I want you to know that even though I put my treasure in this vessel, the reason I did it is because I want to make sure I get the glory. You're not going to be able to take the credit if you stay on this battlefield long enough. Because you're going to say, there have been some times where I didn't feel like I was going to make it. There have been some times where I didn't feel like I was going to come out of this next thing. But there was something else down on the inside of me that kept me going even when I didn't feel like going. It was a treasure that he had put down in me and made me get up and keep going anyway. This means that no matter how much I try to handle the pain, the stress, and the trouble, I can't do it on my own. I need the Lord on my side. I'm telling you that when you tap into the power source, God knows how to give you the energy you need to face the trouble that you're facing. You got to make sure that this power comes from God. I'm talking about the God that told Noah to build an ark when the sun was shining. People were marking him. This God told Noah, build an ark. The same God that told Moses, I want you to take off your shoes because the ground that you're standing on is holy ground. It's the same God that told Abraham, stay your hand, don't kill your son, I got a ram in the bush. I'm talking about when you got a power source from God, it's an almighty power source. It does something to you that you couldn't do for yourself. It's the same God, the same power that brought Joseph out of the pit when his brothers sold him into slavery. It's the same power that caused this soldier to hear a word from his donkey while he was on his way into a troubled place. And the power of God came down and spoke through his donkey and told him, don't you go any further. You got this kind of power working in you, the same kind of power that caused Samson to take a jawbone from another donkey and kill hundreds of men. You got that kind of power working on the inside of you. The same kind of power that Joshua had when he walked around Jericho. You got the same power working in you. This is what the power that comes from God. The power that comes from God, he gave it to Ezekiel when Ezekiel was down in the valley of the dry bones. And the Bible said that Ezekiel told God that I got to go down here. And God asked him, can these bones live? He said, God, you know. And so the power that God used when he spoke to the winds and called the bones to come alive, you got the same power working in you. That's a mighty good power right there. This power, this is what the writer said, this power, understand that it comes from God. And then he says to us, because he wants us to understand now that when we receive the life from Christ, we're going to be troubled on every side, but not distressed. We're going to be perplexed in our lives, but not in despair. Jesus was troubled on every side, but he was not in despair. He was troubled on every side, but he was not in distress. He was perplexed sometimes when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane trying to figure out, Lord, how we going to get through this? But he was not in despair. He was persecuted, but listen, he was never forsaken. He was cast down, but he was not destroyed. He was acquainted with grief, and he was despised and rejected of men. He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquity. He was oppressed and he was afflicted. He was brought as a lamb before the slaughter. I mean, he was troubled and he had to go through various things, but he had the cross in mind because he knew if I could make it through the cross, then I could have the crown. And so what the writer is clear and sharing with us today is to understand that even though we receive Jesus in our lives, you receive the best thing you could ever have when you receive Jesus. You got the best thing you could ever live for when you get Jesus in your life. But I want you to know you may have to go through some trouble in order to get to the cross and the promised land. And so when we receive Jesus and trouble is on every side, we can go through trouble because I got Jesus walking with me. Every time the storm gets to raging, I can go through the storm because I got Jesus on my side. I may have trouble on every side, but as long as I got King Jesus, I got a power source that will always empower me. That I can go through every problem and everything that I'm faced with. And when I receive Jesus, I understand that I may have to go to the crucifixion. Every time I'm lying on, I'm just being nailed to the cross. Every time I go through a trouble, I'm just being nailed to the cross. Every time folks scandalize your name, you're just being nailed to the cross. Every time you get a bad report from the doctor, you're just being nailed to the cross. But I want you to know there was a man that went to the cross. And the Bible said he marched up I get to the cross, I know I can give them a crown. And the Bible said that they whipped him all night long. I'm talking about when you've been whipped, that's your cross. You got to carry it if you want your crown. How you gonna make it through the trial and the trouble? God is my source. The excellent power that comes from God, it helps me to maneuver through the pain that I'm in. How could Jesus march to the cross? He had tapped into God the Father, and God told him, I need you to do this so that people can be delivered. They marched him up to Golgotha. They hung him out on the cross. He stayed from the 6th to the 9th hour. They took him down on the cross. They put him in a borrowed tomb. But Sunday morning, he got out the grave with all power. You got more power that's working in you. You got the same power that's working in your life. So you get a bad call, but you got the power of God working in you. So you get some bad news. You got the power of God working in you. You can fall down on your knees and say, Lord, I need you. I need you right now. Father, I stretch my hand to thee. Lord, help. No other help I know. The power you got, it comes from God. The power you have, it comes from God. The Almighty God that sits high and look low. That's the power you got. The Almighty God that scooped up mountains out of the sea. The same God that looked in a void world and said, let there be. You got that power working in you. How you gonna make it? How you gonna get through your trials? Somebody wanna know how you gonna survive this time. You ought to tell that person, I got a power source. It don't come from this earth. I got a power source. I can go through my pain. I can go through my trouble. I can go through the storm. Because I'm tapped into Jesus. I'm connected to Jesus, and He gives me the power. Is there anybody here that's got a power source? Name Jesus. Anybody here got a power source? And His name is Jesus. Anybody here got a power source? Every time I get weak, I just call on Jesus. Every time I get down, I just call on Jesus. And He knows how to pump you up. He knows how to boost you on. I got a power source. God is my source. Go to the church of hope. God is my source. You still smiling in the trouble you ain't got. How you still here? How you still walking so good? How you? I got another source. Every now and then I have to go to him in the midnight hour. I have to go to him when ain't nobody else around. I got to go to him sometime when I ain't at the church house. I have to go in my secret closet and I have to tap in to my flowers. He always. He know how to boost me on. I come out of there and I got a smile on my face. How you wearing that smile? I tap in. I plugged up to my power source. Paul says in 2 Corinthians that we may know the excellency of this power.
Oh, yes.
And he then says in the next phrase, that is of God and not of us. You can't do anything without it. Don't try. You on your way to a bad fall and a bad mistake. You can't do anything without the Lord. You realize and understand this excellent power source that you have.
Oh, yes.
You'll tell everybody.
Yes, sir.
It come from God.
And
not from me. So Paul says in verse 12, you can come, you got time. He says in verse 12, we are dying so that others may live. It is the parallel of Jesus going to the cross.
Oh, yes.
You and I, we have chosen Jesus, and we are dying.
Oh, yes.
But I want folk to see me while I'm being crucified and persecuted
Yes.
and in trouble sometimes.
Thank you, Lord.
He says, I want my life to be manifested in your life.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
So while I'm asking for water and they're giving me vinegar,
Yes, sir.
I'm still marching to the
Oh, yes,
cross.
sir. Oh, yes, sir.
While they're beating me all night and for something I didn't do,
Yes, sir.
I'm still going to the cross.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going because I know if I can get through this,
Yes, sir.
others are going to live from what I went through.
Yes, sir.
So Jesus writes in John, if I be lifted up,
Yes, sir.
I draw all men
Yes, sir.
unto me.
you better be careful if you don't want me lifted.
Yes, sir.
You better watch. If you don't want folk to come, don't put me up there.
Amen. Amen.
He's using you in the same light.
Yes,
Show
sir.
enough.
I'm going to take you through this trouble.
Show enough.
I'm going to take you through this pain.
Oh, yes.
And others going to be saved from what you come through.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm going to lift you up.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you a spectacle.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
That's what he said. I'm going to put you out there on the front row.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm going to let folks see what you're going through.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to let them make you a spectacle out there so people can witness who you are and what you got to deal
Oh,
with.
yes. Oh, yes.
But when I take you down,
Yeah.
Now.
Yes, sir.
when I put you down in that grave for a little while,
Yeah.
you ain't got but 3 days in there. But when I bring you out of that grave, when I bring you out of that problem,
Yes,
when I
sir.
bring you out of that issue, others are going to be saved
Show
Yeah.
enough.
from what you come. How did you make it out of that grave situation?
Yeah.
How did you make it out of that terrible thing you were in?
Yes, sir. I will thank you, Lord.
I'm trying to look at you, see it ain't much to you. You ain't that big. I'm trying to see how you come through. You ain't got that much money. I'm trying to count you up and calculate you, but how you still making it? How you still doing what you're doing? How you still go?
Thank you, Lord.
Oh, yes.
I plugged in
Enough.
to my power source,
Enough.
and everything I had to go through, I had enough energy and enough juice
Oh, yes.
to get through the dead zone.
Show enough.
Yes, sir.
I had enough energy and enough juice.
This battery don't run out.
Yeah.
He don't need
Yes,
no
sir.
source for him.
Yes, sir.
He is the source. He don't need no plug up.
Yes, sir.
He is the plug up. So when you tap into him, you got the best you can have.
Amen.
God is
Oh, yes, he is.
my source.
Oh, yes, sir.
You can come now by love, Christian experience candidate for baptism.
Couldn't make it.
Yeah.
You can come. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. All because I know, oh, he knows the future. You got time to come. And life is worth the living just because he lives. Let me say it one more time. Because he lives. He's my source.
Yeah.
He's the way I get through this.
I can face
Tomorrow. Just tap into him. That's all you got to do. Because he lives. All my fear is gone. All fear is gone. Because I know. Because bless you. We see there none. There's still room at the cross.
Oh, yes.
God bless you. We thank God for you. God is.
Oh, yes.